Martin Scorsese has just released one of his greatest movies, and it seems like nobody cares. So why didn't audiences turn out for Killers of the Flower Moon? 2023 continues to be a strange, confusing year for box office expectations. Surefire summer fixtures like The Flash and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny wound up as box office failures, losing their respective studios millions of dollars. Meanwhile, an unexpected number of mature, adult-oriented pictures have triumphed at the box office, including the controversial Sound of Freedom and Christopher Nolan's 3-hour biopic Oppenheimer. The success of these diverse, practically IP-less films was promising, signaling that upcoming adult-oriented projects could post record-breaking box office figures. Unfortunately, director Martin Scorsese's highly anticipated Killers of the Flower Moon, which also fits into that category, flopped. On a reported budget of $200 million, Scorsese's latest picture debuted at $23 million worldwide. The Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro-led film to date has raked in just under $90 million globally, a far cry from its 9-figure budget. Killers of the Flower Moon will likely end its box office run around or just above $100 million worldwide, which would place a 3-hour-plus epic as one of the director's highest-grossing films. While Martin Scorsese is by no means an automatic box office draw, he stands out as one of the most widely beloved contemporary filmmakers. It says a lot that Scorsese was actually able to convince Apple Studios to grant him a $200 million budget for an R-rated, dialogue-heavy crime film with a massive runtime. When you consider the fact that the film might fail to even break the $110 million barrier, that bloated budget feels like a major source of blame. And seeing as the picture had a 60% drop domestically during its second weekend, it's safe to say that there's no scenario where Killers makes its $200 million budget back. When films like Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer are being made for as little as $100 million, you can't help but wonder what Scorsese did with that $200 million. Well, for one thing, Variety claims that Apple and Scorsese granted lead star Leonardo DiCaprio a $30 million salary. That's a bumbling and despicable Ernest Burkhart. In a world where Adam Driver can readily agree to receive a pay cut to ensure films like Ferrari get made, it's mind-boggling that Apple afforded DiCaprio such a massive salary. Perhaps a more modest budget would have helped Killers post at least a minimal theatrical profit. One thing worth mentioning, Killers of the Flower Moon is a cinematic triumph, with a Rotten Tomatoes rating of 93% and an overwhelmingly positive A- cinema score. Scorsese's latest is nothing short of a career highlight for the director and his stellar cast. And for some, like Looper critic Audrey Fox, the film's 206-minute runtime only gave it more room to meditate on the tragedy of the Osage people. Unfortunately, the 3-hour-plus runtime seemed to be pushing it for general audience members. Take to social media sites like Reddit and you'll find several users arguing that it's best to skip the film's theatrical release because it's just too damn long. One Redditor writes, "I'll wait to watch it in nice 4K Dolby Vision at home where I can pause, etc." You could argue that Oppenheimer, which was just 25 minutes shorter than Killers, was able to prosper at the box office. But Scorsese's latest simply doesn't have the same cultural momentum as Nolan's epic. Put short, Barbie helped.
Hi, Barbie.
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 Hi, Ken.
Killers of the Flower Moon is a star-studded affair, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Jesse Plemons, Brandon Fraser, John Lithgow, and more. That's a whole lot of Oscar winners and nominees in one film. The movie also features a career-defining performance from Lily Gladstone, whose character Molly falls for DiCaprio's greedy Ernest. As compelling as the film's premise might be, Killers of the Flower Moon is marketable primarily because of its cast. Unfortunately, the movie's actors weren't able to promote the picture because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, in which actors are demanding the rates they deserve. The strike, which kicked off in July 2023, forbids actors from promoting or marketing any of their projects. Because of this, the cast wasn't allowed to promote the film in interviews, during press junkets, or on late-night talk shows. While Martin Scorsese certainly tried his best to promote the film, the director doesn't have the same recognizability or clout as DiCaprio or De Niro. Beyond that, no promotion meant no opportunity for the film's indigenous actors to discuss the film's importance regarding the tragedy of the Osage Nation. Perhaps the performance of Oppenheimer left box office pundits with far too much optimism. While the runaway success of Christopher Nolan's astonishing masterpiece is certainly mind-boggling, it should be remembered that Nolan is a brand unto himself. The creative maverick boasts a number of box office hits, several of which were original projects. But even without the expectations set by Oppenheimer, it's hard to imagine Killers succeeding in any scenario without a lower budget. In recent years, historical epics haven't enjoyed much momentum at the box office. 2022's Babylon, a $110 million film set in the 1920s, only made $63 million. Ridley Scott's 2021 movie The Last Duel, which featured Adam Driver, Jodie Comer, and Matt Damon in lead roles, failed to make more than $30 million at the box office. Even Scorsese's 17th century set magnum opus Silence couldn't make its reported $45 million budget back in 2016. So what chance did Killers stand, considering it cost so much? It really does seem like Oppenheimer was the exception and not the rule when it comes to historical epics succeeding in the current theatrical landscape.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Ultimately, Killers of the Flower Moon will more than likely fail to make a profit at the global box office. But that doesn't really matter, because intention is extremely important when it comes to digesting this film's numbers. For Apple TV+, Killers of the Flower Moon posting a profit isn't as important as a film dominating awards season. There's a reason why Netflix and Apple have been giving Scorsese hundreds of millions of dollars to do whatever the heck he wants. It's because he provides results. While his projects don't make as much as the MCU films he's repeatedly criticized, Scorsese's films attract prestige and awards, something streamers vie for as the distribution industry drastically changes. For Apple TV+ and distributor Paramount Pictures, every dollar Killers of the Flower Moon makes is gravy on top of all that prestige and name recognition. And don't forget, Killers of the Flower Moon is first and foremost billed as an Apple original, meaning it will only be available on Apple TV+ once it dashes out of cinemas. This is a streaming play, really, one that just so happens to have a traditional theatrical release. And what the film has made so far shouldn't be understated either. Killers made $40 million during its opening weekend, and is on track to make over $100 million globally. This is nothing short of a miracle. In a world where Netflix abandoned The Irishman theatrically, and where that film failed to make even $1 million due to a limited release, it's fantastic that Apple is affording Scorsese a full 3,000 theater-plus wide release.